Hello everyone. I'm a little late with this video today due to the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States, so I apologize for that. But it is Friday, and I wanted to make sure I got another episode of Toy Box Tutorials out for you, so that's what we're going to do today. And today, I want to talk to you about the Knowhere Portal and teleporters in general, since we have not talked about those yet in this series. The Knowhere Portal is another toy that you can unlock in the Marvel Battlegrounds playset. And you do that by completing challenge number 23 as Yondu. And when you do, you will find this toy in the Gameplay Toys drawer here in the Toy Box Editor. So let me place one. Now, this toy works identical to the teleporter Creativitoy that is here in the Creativitoys drawer. So this episode will cover both toys. The behaviors and trigger signals for these are identical. The only difference is the appearance of the toy. The Knowhere Portal, as you can see, is much fancier. And I actually like that a lot better. But I've already placed one here, and let me drop a button so that we can kind of take a look at this and play around with it. Alright, the teleporter has one behavior, and if we connect our button to it, it's teleport player. And you can specify which player or players you want to teleport. It can be the triggering actor, which in this case is the one who pressed the button, or it can be a specific player, or all players, or all the players on a particular team. And that can be useful. But right now we'll just use the triggering actor. And if you push the button, that drops Mickey on the teleporter. So you can use a logic connection to teleport a player from anywhere in the toy box to this location, and that can be helpful. And that is the only behavior the toy has. So I leave the button there for now, and we'll just delete that link. Now the teleporter itself has a logic connection. One trigger signal it'll broadcast, and that is teleported from here. So if you activate the teleport feature of this teleporter to go somewhere else, and you're teleporting from this location, that will broadcast this trigger signal. So if you want to know if the player has used a particular teleporter, this is the signal that you can use to let other toys know that. And then we have new teleporter connection, which is probably not something you're going to use most of the time, because, as you'll see, if we drop down a second teleporter, and we select it, you'll see there's a line connecting the two of these. And if we open the menu here, it has automatically established two logic connections. One from this toy to the first teleporter, and one from the first teleporter to this one. So it already did the new teleporter connection for us. And what that means is that now, without having to do anything other than to place these in the environment, I can step on this toy and teleport to the other one. And I can teleport from here back. And that happens automatically. So that's kind of handy. Now, if we drop a third one, you'll notice it does not connect it automatically to the other two. And you'll also notice, if I select one of these, the new teleporter connection option is not available, which means you can only connect a teleporter to one other teleporter. So you cannot connect them to multiple teleporters, with one exception, and I'll get to that in a moment. But if we exit out of that and we place down a fourth teleporter, you'll see it automatically connected these two. So every time you put down a new pair of teleporters, it will automatically link them. Now let's go ahead and delete these links that it automatically created. And you'll notice when I did that, the new teleporter connection comes back. So if we select this, I can connect it to this one because nothing has been connected to that yet, but I cannot connect it to either of these. And so as you can see, it's forcing me to actually connect it to this one and not to any of the others that are already connected. Now let me cancel out of that. And if I come out and drop down another one, I now have 3 of these that are not connected. Okay, so I could, though, do a new teleporter connection, connect it to this one. I can connect this teleporter to this one, and I can connect that teleporter back to the first one. So you can connect multiple teleporters by kind of chaining them together in that fashion, so that when we step on the first one here, it takes us over here, and when we activate that one, that takes us over here, and we activate that one, and that takes us back to the other one. So that could come in handy if you want to use the teleporters to kind of create an interesting little teleporting puzzle, because the player may not necessarily know where it's going to go. You would normally expect the teleporters to work this way, where you connect 2 of them and you go back and forth between the 2. But you can use what I just showed you to set up multiple teleporters like this and connect them together and kind of build a puzzle that the player has to figure out how to get from point A to point B, maybe by connecting a lot of these floating out in space, and how to use those to get to a place they can't otherwise get to, by figuring out the pattern of how these things are put together. And if you put a pair of them together, not connected like this, but put 2 of them on a little island here and 2 on a little island there, and you connect them together in an unexpected way like this, you can kind of build a fun little puzzle. So that's useful. And let me go ahead and remove those. Something else you might not be aware of is because these toys are actually identical. And let me do this way. Let me put these things down fresh. So we'll put one down. We'll put another one down. You'll notice it automatically connected those 2. Both of them are identical, as I said. They have the same trigger signals, same logic behavior. They're both teleporters. So you can actually put down a mix of these if you wanted and connect them up to have a teleporter of this type go to one of that type and vice versa. So I don't know if you would necessarily want to do that, but you can, and it's nice to know that that is available. And the other thing you'll note too is you don't always know how the player is going to be facing when they use the teleporter and they come out the other one. So like for this example, we're facing that way, and there's nothing on the toy itself on the base to indicate what direction I'm going to be facing. So some of this is trial and error. So if you want the player to be facing that way when they come off of it, fine. But if you want them to face that way, for example, after they've teleported, well, then you got to rotate the toy after you use it once to get it to go the way you want. And likewise with the other one. So now we got that one facing the way we want. Now when we teleport back, this time we're facing that way. So if we wanted the player to be facing this way when they come out, then obviously we would have to rotate this toy 90 degrees clockwise to make that happen. So there's a little bit of trial and error here so that the player's facing the right way when they come out. And again, there's no property or anything on this toy that helps you figure that out. Now you'll notice when I did rotate this, we lost our logic connection here, and that sometimes happens. So if it does, we have to recreate the logic connection ourselves, which is kind of a pain. But it's easy enough to do with the new teleporter connection, as you can see. And that might be one case where you would want to use that as well. So now if we teleport, now Mickey's facing the way we want him to face on this side. And if we teleport back, now he's facing the way we want him to face here. Alright, so let's go ahead and delete those. And I think that's mostly everything that I wanted to cover here with the teleporters. So what I'm going to have in my toy box is I want to have a teleporter up here, and I want the player to be able to use it to get up to the final island at the top of that island, way out here. That's how the player is going to get up here. And this is where they're going to find the final sidekick door and face their final boss battle. Is right up here on top of this island. So we're going to put our teleporter right back here in the back of this area. And you'll see we lost our connection when I moved it. So now we got to relink the two teleporters here. So it's usually best to place them where you want to have them in their original locate or in their final locations, and then link them. For demo purposes, I thought it'd be useful to put them side by side there, just to make it easier to make these connections, but you can see that doesn't quite work. Alright, and now we just need to orient these. So Mickey comes out over here facing this way, which I guess is maybe not too bad. How's he facing when he comes over this way? This is the important one. Okay, so he's facing that way. I want him to be facing that direction, so we need to rotate this like that. And once again, we lost our connection. Oops. Teleporter connection. So once again, we got to make the connection. So this is kind of the downside when you've got the teleporters spread out in your toy box, is having to remake these connections each time. It's a little bit of a pain, but fortunately it's not too difficult. And again, I'm not too worried about the orientation of that one, because the flow of the toy box is to get the player up to this final place. They're not really probably going to be going back and forth. The only reason they would is if they skipped one of the sidekick doors and they need to go back. Alright, so that is it for teleporters and the Knowhere Portal. They are pretty easy to use, and with a little creativity, you can connect them in unexpected ways to build some interesting puzzles. Well, that's all for me today. If you enjoyed my tutorial, or at least found it helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more tutorials and toy box builds like this. And let me know in the comments what you think of the teleporters and what kinds of interesting ways you've used them in your toy boxes. Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend.